we have some breaking news that we need to get to. Because last night, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, he decided to strike Iran with a retaliation against what happened last weekend. Now, we're going to go over a little bit of this. We're going to talk about where these strikes occurred. We're going to explain what the world is looking at this time and why some believe this is going to create a wider war. However, we have heard from Tehran already, and they say they have no plans to retaliate. Now, is this just them playing possum, or are they actually considering no retaliation against Israel? Well, we're going to find out soon enough, but we will break this down together. So make sure you stick around for this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So we talked about this a week ago, and I told you that Iran attacked Israel. They attacked them with over 300 drones and missiles. However, only a handful actually got through and hit Israel. This was also one of the reasons why many were telling Benjamin Netanyahu, do not attack Iran, and warned him. However, he didn't listen. Israel decided last night they were going to strike Iran. Now, I'm going to play you a clip in just a moment, but I want to read you one other thing from Reuters just this morning. And it says, Tehran signals no retaliation against Israel after drones attack Iran. Now, I want to be very clear on something. As of right now, Iran does not plan to retaliate based off of their statements. However, I want to be very clear. Iran has some proxies that they use. That is Hamas, as the Houthis, and it's Hezbollah. Well, look at this. It says Hezbollah's second in command insists it is not seeking war, but would respond to an Israeli escalation. This is the concern, is it's not Iran that's going to respond. It's going to be Hezbollah, who is right there at the border of Israel. So we may not see an attack or missiles or anything come from Iran. It may be from the Israeli border. That right there should scare Israel quite a bit. But I want to read you what was in this article. Just look at this. It says, explosions echoed over an Iranian city on Friday in what sources described as an Israeli attack. But Tehran played down the incident and indicated it had no plans for retaliation, a response that appeared gauged towards averting a region-wide war. Okay, so the good news there is Iran may be, they are probably blaming Israel. But do they want to retaliate? Most likely not. They want to try to de-escalate the situation first, or Iran is not going to be the one that attacks. That's the worry. Let's keep reading. It says the limited scale of the attack and Iran's muted response appeared to signal a successful effort by diplomats who have been working to avert all-out war since Iranian drone and missile attack on Israel last Saturday. Here's a big one. It says Iranian media and officials described a small number of explosions, which they said resulted from air defenses hitting 3 drones over the city of Isfahan in central Iran. Notably, they referred to the incident as an attack by infiltrators rather than by Israel, obviating the need for retaliation. Now, one thing I just want to point out is the city of Isfahan. That is important to note because that city has nuclear grade materials. Now I want to play you this clip from Fox News as well, and just listen to what he has to say. Listen to this.
So in terms of the targets that were likely hit in any sort of strike and retaliation from the Israelis, you are looking at nuclear research facilities, additionally any sort of IRGC locations across the Middle East in places like Syria and Iraq, and then Iranian backed proxies across the region. And so Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias certainly would be on that target list for the Israelis. The Israelis looking to send a message to Iran, if this is confirmed that they are behind these strikes, not to ever attack directly from Iranian territory toward Israel, and also to ensure that they will keep control of their proxies across the region. The big concern here has to do with Iranian nuclear aspirations.
Now, I do want to point out one thing really quick. So, Israel wants Iran to pretty much control their proxies. Okay? This includes Hezbollah. And again, Hezbollah, even though they listen to Iran, if Hezbollah believes that is the right move to attack Israel, they are going to do it, and Iran is not going to be able to do much. Okay? The other thing is there are nuclear-grade materials in these facilities. Let's keep listening.
And I want to break down something very important here, Trace, because if it is confirmed that Isfahan was one of the targets for the Israelis tonight in this retaliation, it is significant for two reasons. We'll point back to June of last year when the UN nuclear watchdog was concerned that they went into a probe and found uranium particles that were enriched up to 83%, just short of the 90% weapons-grade material line. An indication.
So right there, that watchdog that found some of those materials was very close to this nuclear-grade material. That is the concern. Okay, this is in Isfahan. All right, let's keep listening.
That Iran is getting very close to the ability to create a nuclear weapon. Other watchdogs over the past several months have said the Iranian breakout time for such a weapon is basically zero. And this means Iran, in response to this, may not react militarily, but could say they are changing their nuclear doctrine. One other important.
So again, I just want to cut in here because Iran is not against changing things on their end to make it work for them. Okay, now he's going to say something in just a moment, and it has to do with the missiles that were launched. Okay, and these were some of the ballistic missiles that they were launching. Now, this is somewhat troubling, but many believed earlier, okay, last week, that Iran was perfectly fine sending 300 drones and missiles because the ones that got through were the ones that mattered. Listen to this. This is somewhat scary.
Note here, Trace, when we look at the Iranian attack last weekend, Iran, for the first time in their country's history, fired on Israel directly with what appeared to be Shahab ballistic missiles. These are the missiles that if Iran were to create a nuclear warhead, they would use to target any country around the world. And they used this missile last weekend without a nuclear warhead, and they were successful in targeting Israel. So again, tonight, we are unable to confirm the reports at this moment, but initial reporting indicates explosions in Iran, Iraq, and Syria, and this does come on the heels of the threats of Israeli retaliation following that Iranian attack last weekend.
So I'll leave it right there. What we are about to see could be far worse than what we've already seen. Because again, keep in mind, this attack that we saw from Iran on Israel last week, that was a failed attempt in the majority of the world's eyes. But based off of the statements and the reports that we've received this past week, is that Iran may have done exactly what they wanted to do. Those ballistic missiles that they sent, that they could then go and attach a nuclear warhead to, that might have been the only test that they were trying out. And the response from Israel, which pretty much did nothing, was just a warning shot just last night. This might be okay. This might have been Iran's perfect scenario. But listen to what the CIA director had to say. Listen to this.
Iranians fired off something like 330 drones and missiles combined. Turned out to be a spectacular failure for them. Of those 330 missiles, only 4 or 5 actually impacted in Israel, and none of them did any significant damage.
So right there, only 4 or 5 missiles actually impacted Israel. And based off of the reports, those 4 or 5 other missiles, they were ballistic missiles. They were the ones that the last reporter was just talking about that we could then, or Iran could then go and attach a nuclear warhead to. Okay? This is why it's so significant. Now, Iran or Tehran does say that they have no plans of retaliation, but based off of what Hezbollah's second in command is saying, is that they will respond to an Israeli escalation. So we're going to see what happens moving forward. But what I can tell you is this these regional tensions and a potential regional war, well, the discussions of this are not over. We are going to continue to talk about this because, not just because of Iran and Israel, but because now Hezbollah might be the one that is going to target Israel, being that they are right there and they pretty much have their eyes set on Israel and have for some time. Experts believe that is what's going to create the next regional war and could potentially pull in the United States, which would then turn it into a world war, which the United States and Iran would both be in. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you right now is I will be here every step of the way. I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.